Hey, my darlings. I am missing your faces right now. But I wanted to jump on here and tell you how proud I am of you guys. You've been working so hard, and your parents have been sending me your work, and it's been amazing. I can tell you guys are working really hard at home, and so thank you for working so hard at home. As I've been looking at your work, I noticed some things that maybe we're need a little refresher on, some things that maybe we've forgotten or some stuff that's new. And so I thought what I would do is over the next couple of days, maybe throw a couple of videos on here just to kind of review some of that stuff that maybe we need to just catch our brains up on a little bit. This video is going to be on clocks. I think most of us know how to tell time, but we're kind of getting some things confused a little bit, particularly when we start talking about those quarter past and quarter to. And then today, you guys started a new concept called elapsed time. So I wanted to go over that a little bit too. I know I posted a video on that, but I still wanted to explain it a little bit myself so we would all be on the same page. So just real quick, yesterday you guys had some work and you had to tell some times, and they were dealing with quarter past and quarter to, and you didn't have to write that, but you had to tell if it was like, I don't know, so maybe it was 6:45 or 4:45 or something like that. And I noticed that some of us are getting a little tricked with that. So I wanted to do a quick refresher on our clock. By the way, I am recording this from my house, and I am here with my kids and my dog, and so you're probably going to hear stuff in the background, so sorry, that's just life around here. So just ignore it if you hear it. So this is the clock we have here at our house. This is Harper's clock that she plays with. But as you can see, this clock has a blue hand and a red hand. And I just wanted to remind you guys that when we're telling time, our long hand is our minute hand and our short hand is our hour hand. And when we look at the clock, the first hand we want to look at is our short hand. On this one, it's red. But we want to look at the hour hand first, and that's the first number we're going to write down when we write down our time. So if I were to show you this clock at this time, now this one's pretty simple. You guys can look at that and you can tell me that this is what time? 7 o'clock. All right, because my hour hand is touching the 7 and my minute hand's touching the 12, which means o'clock. So you got that. Now, if I had the hand go all the way over here, now what time is it? Okay, we've got my hour hand is still on the 7, but now my minute hand has gone around to the 3. Okay, remember when we count our minutes using the minute hand, we're not counting by ones. It's not 7:03. We're going to count by fives. So it's 7, 5, 10, 15. So this time would be 7:15. Now you can see this clock kind of has it divided for you. Remember we talked about how we can divide a clock in half. And so when my hand's down here on the 6, it's half past. And then when we go across, it's divided into quarters. So when it's 7:15, another way of saying that is it's quarter past 7. And then when we go all the way down here, we just said that that's half past 7. And remember, when it gets to the half past, my hour hand's starting to move a little bit too. So that's half past 7, which if I have to write that with numbers though, what time would that be? Remember, we're going to count by fives. We go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. So that's 7:30. Now we're going to keep going, keep going, keep going. And this is the one that tricks a lot of people. What time is that? My minute hand is now all the way over here on the 9. Look where my hour hand is. A lot of times we look at this and it looks so close to the 8 that we think that that's 8:45, but it's not. Remember, when we come around to this side of our clock, we're getting really close to that next hour, but it's not there yet. So this is really close to 8 o'clock, but it's not quite there. If I took a ruler or a pencil and I did a line straight across, I would see that it's going right there to the edge, but it's not all the way to the 8 yet. So that means it's still 7. So this would be 7, and then I can count by 5s, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45. So that's 7:45. And then using those words that we learned, that's also known as a quarter to or quarter till 8 o'clock, because it's almost 8. We've only got to go a quarter of the way till we're at 8 o'clock. Okay, so I just wanted to do a quick refresher on that. Remind you again about counting by 5s, and particularly remind you about this, how when it's right there at the quarter till, when it's so close to that next hour, but it's not quite there, be careful. A lot of people missed that on yesterday's math paper, just because it looks like it's right on that hour, but it's not quite there. So be super, super careful of that. Then, as I said, today you guys are learning something called elapsed time, and I posted a video, and the video kind of takes it a little bit farther than we're going to go today. You guys are just doing elapsed time with, let's see, half hours and hours. You're not getting into all the minutes yet, but elapsed time just means that time is passing, and you are doing hours later or hours earlier. So if we're doing hours later, if it is 8 o'clock and I say, what time will it be 1 hour later? Later means you're going to go forward. We're going up. We're going to be counting forward. And so if I have a clock, I can say, okay, 1 hour later. That means my minute hand's going to go all the way around the clock to the next hour. And in 1 hour, it would go all the way around and it would be 9 o'clock. So if it was 8 o'clock and I said, what time is it 1 hour later? It'd be 9 o'clock. If it's 9 o'clock and I say, well, what time was it 1 hour earlier? Earlier means we're going to go backwards. So if I go backwards, like that, 1 hour, it would have been 8 o'clock, just like that. Now, if I'm on 8 o'clock and I say, what time was it 2 hours earlier? Well, then I got to go back 2 times around the clock. So I would go 1 hour would have been 7 o'clock, but I'm not done because I said 2 hours earlier. Go backwards again. 2 hours earlier would have been 6 o'clock. Now I can also do this. You don't have to have a clock to do it. You can also do it with a board. And I don't have a marker. I just realized I don't have a marker, so I have to use a piece of paper. You can do it on a piece of paper, on a board, whatever you've got to write with. I'm going to improvise here and use my paper. I grabbed my board, but didn't grab a marker to write with it. But if I give you a time and I say it is 5 o'clock. And you need to tell me the time 1 hour later. Well, all I have to do is jump up 1 hour. So when I jump up 1 hour, the only thing that's going to change is this hour right here. And I'm going up 1. So from 5, I go up 1. Well, you guys know what 5 plus 1 is. That's 6. And because I'm just doing 1 hour, that's the only thing that changes. So it goes from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock. The minutes don't change, just the hour. Now, sometimes, and today you're also going to do this, sometimes I'm going to do half hour. I might say a half hour later or a half hour earlier. Half hour means 30 minutes. Remember that? A whole hour is 60 minutes and a half hour is 30 minutes. So if I am on 4:30, there's my clock. It's on 4:30. And I say, what time will it be a half hour later? That means I'm going to go keep moving forward around the clock a half hour. Half hour is halfway around the clock. So if I'm on the 4:30 and my hand works its way around the clock halfway, it's going to go to 5 o'clock because it started on the 6 and it's going to go all the way around to the 12 and it's going to be 5 o'clock. If I'm on 5:30 and I say, what time was it a half hour earlier? You're going to do it the same idea. You're just going halfway around the clock, but you're going to go backwards. If it's a half hour earlier, you're going to go backwards. So I would go halfway around. 5:30, half hour earlier would be 5 o'clock. On my paper, it would look like this. If it is 2:30 and I need to go a half hour earlier, what would be 2:30 and take off 30 minutes? I would go backwards to 2 o'clock. 2 o'clock. If I was on 2:30 and I said, what time would it be a half hour later? I would go up 30 minutes. And 30 minutes after 2:30 would be 3 o'clock. So there's kind of a pattern there. We go 2, 2:30, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock, what would come next? 3:30. Then 4 o'clock. That's how we count by half hours. So that's all you're doing there. Just counting by the half hours, either going backwards or forwards. Just pay attention on your paper to if it says earlier or later, because earlier you're going to go backwards, later you're going to go forward. And if it's an hour, then your minutes aren't going to change. If it's a half hour, you're going to be going by 30 minutes. I hope that makes sense. It's hard to not see your faces and know and be able to ask you directly if that's making any sense. But if you have questions, you can always shoot me a text or an email. Hopefully you guys are good to go. And I'll be posting some more videos about some phonics, language phonics things that I see later. Love you guys, and I can't wait to see you in person. Bye.